How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse. Today I'm here with Zach. He's the product line manager at HOKA, and we're going to be diving in deep on their newest shoe, the HOKA Clifton Edge. Now, the Clifton series has been around for years, but now we have the Edge. It's going to live alongside the standard Clifton, but HOKA is using their most advanced resources to create a truly innovative shoe. Zach, what was the general inspiration behind the Clifton Edge?
Yeah, the Clifton Edge has been a really fun project for us just because for us it really represents that blank canvas. We get to take a lot of those learnings that we've picked up over the years and push geometries, push new materials, and try to create the softest, smoothest experience that we can. And I think we've got a really fun shoe to run in with the Clifton Edge.
Perfect. Now, the Clifton, it's always been known as that highly cushioned daily trainer. It's really a shoe that is for everyone. The Clifton Edge, it's kind of, you said you're pushing the boundaries here with the shoe. Who do you think is going to use the shoe?
I think it's still going to be used as a daily training shoe, but for people that are kind of looking for that next generation of soft and smooth. So we have a lot of people who love the experience of the Clifton right now. I think they'll still love the update with the 7 that's going to launch here soon too. But the extension of the Clifton Edge really gives it a nice smooth ride and even a little bit of more of a snappy up-tempo feel. So personally, I like to rotate it in when I'm going to pick up the pace even a little bit. But when I slow down off of the interval, it still has that comfort that you want when you're just trying to relax and go smooth.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more versatile, a little bit lighter. How are you able to get what is the weight on the shoe, and how are you able to get it down that light?
Like I mentioned, we try to push the boundaries a little bit with how we're constructing the shoe. And it does actually end up even a little hair lighter than the Clifton. So what's pretty crazy is you can generally see how much shoe and how much midsole there is with this product. There's roughly 10% more volume than a Clifton in the midsole alone, but it still ends up at around 245, 246 grams, which is right at about 8.7, 8.8 ounces for men's size 9. And that's incredibly lightweight for something so comfortable and smooth. And we get there by doing a couple things. First, we have a brand new foam that's in that blue top layer right there. And that definitely helps us to save some weight from some of the previous foams that we've used and also add some of that extra snap to the ride. But one thing that HOKA has always done is really scrutinized where the rubber is placed, how much we can leave off, because when you put a shoe together, rubber is actually the heaviest and the firmest material on a shoe. So by leaving that off, we can add to the cushioned experience. We can help to save some weights where we want to. And you'll notice here on the outsole of the Clifton Edge, this is actually a full rubberized EVA compound for ground contact, which just means that we remove some of that firmer surface underneath your foot between you and the ground. But the rubberized foams actually have some incredible resiliency. So that means that it snaps back. So you get that balance between soft and responsive that is really hard to find.
So you've got these unique geometries, you've got the exposed outsole to help keep weight down. We also have a very unique look in the upper. Can you talk about what went into making this upper, how you get it so light, and also that heel flare? It has a very unique look to it.
Yeah, it's funny. That was one of the things in prototypes that took the longest to really dial in, was getting that flare away from the Achilles, so that you have this really intuitive pull tab that's easy to use. We don't have a little webbing loop or anything else like that, but it's really easy to grab, slide on, and the shape of it actually helps us to keep it swept back from the Achilles so that there's less pressure while still remaining having that contact for a nice locked in and dialed in feel. So a lot of trial and error went into getting that nice and consistent. But that helps for something that's clean, both in look, easy to use, functionality, and helps to lock in that heel better than most of the other fits I've had on a shoe. And then the rest of the upper still continues to push. I think it's one of those shoes that we keep on. Personally, I find a new detail that I love even more than the previous day. And part of that is using some new processes. Like we have this brand new, it's an embroidered TPU yarn, so we can actually focus exactly where we want the support that's then fused and pressed. And that allows for a nice lightweight construction that's detailed exactly where we want it to be. And it makes for a nice crisp finish and removes some of those extra layers that might be underneath the traditional mesh. So we have some really fun details engineered into the upper that complement kind of that overall, definitely more out there aesthetic.
Perfect. So all these pieces, they kind of come together to create that final product. But like you said, there is a lot that goes into the design of these shoes. What was the prototyping like for this, and what goes into creating a shoe that's just unlike anything you've ever done before?
Unlike anything we've ever done before, it means there was a lot of history to get there. So it actually pulled in from a lot of things we had done before. Made for a really fun process because it wasn't just building off of a single model or a single franchise. We got to really start with a clean slate, and I got a couple shoes behind me that I thought really helped to build this shoe along the way. And some of them are a little bit dirty, so I apologize for that. But we've been testing the heck out of a lot of them. First was in a really old sample, and this was actually the first one that ever used that rubberized foam completely as the outsole. This was one of the original Clayton prototypes. But so even like small concepts from that, we just started, pulling from our greatest hits. And I think that led to some pretty significant outsole designs. And then even at one point, we had this kind of real desire to keep on shaking up what the Clifton can do and what it means for our runners. So this was actually, I think the impetus for this project overall came roughly around the Clifton 4 when we started a prototype. And that was when we actually, removed a lot of the rubber. We had the rubberized foam extend pretty much all the way underneath the midfoot into the heel. And we were playing with this idea of, can you have this extra responsive ride that's stuffed into a Clifton frame? So we had all the way back from the Clifton 4 this idea about, changing up how the model is constructed and significantly trying new materials within the Clifton franchise. I think one of the other models that really had a large influence on the Clifton Edge was the 10.9. And personally, I really love the 10.9 because it gets back to some of that original tinkering that HOKA did as a brand, just taking large blocks of foam, adding even more on in certain areas, carving away in others. And when they first had these prototypes for HOKA, they were trying to figure out how to run an ultra marathon as fast and comfortably as possible. And that's one of the ways that the 10.9 really excels, is just smoothing out any surface. And no matter how many miles you are into a run, having that huge heel extension, especially downhill, just makes the road almost like butter. So we were playing with that concept, and you can see obviously there is an extended heel here, but even some of the geometries that went into exactly how the heel deforms, we really refined to make even better for the road. So from that, you can see, a more flared extension that was a little less bulbous, but really refined the grooving so that it collapses a little bit easier underneath that initial impact. You might not be bombing down a hill or steep trail, but anytime you land on your heel, if you are going downhill, or if you're more of a heel striker, you get that really soft and then extremely smooth transition onto the midfoot and off. So I think a lot of those really fun projects that either came to life through innovation samples like the 10.9, or even projects that we didn't bring to market exactly as is, bled into this Clifton Edge experiment.
Yeah, HOKA has been innovating for years, and they're really never afraid to test the boundaries of what a shoe can be. I'm extremely excited for the Clifton Edge. It looks extremely smooth, extremely cushioned. Overall, I think it's going to be a great shoe from daily training to tempo runs. If you're looking to get this shoe on your feet, it's available now here at Running Warehouse.